Okay, students. So, absorption of water. We are talking about absorption in plants. So it can be water absorption or mineral absorption. So the main uh, reason for absorption of water from the by the roots is difference in the osmotic presses. Uh, this is also called diffusion pressure deficit. So what happens? There are carrier in the membranes of uh, uh, root cells, and also in all the cells there are carriers are present. So they may be active carriers, active transporters, ion channels are present. So they may be active transporter, passive transporter, and facilitated transport, where the transport is mediated through a uh, protein. Then it is called facilitated. So diffusion can also be facilitated diffusion. So in the passive diffusion is can also be diffusion is when there is no membrane present. In suppose you put a piece of sugar or salt in the water, it will diffuse in some time through the whole water without disturb. Even if you do not disturb the water, so this is diffusion. But when it is across the membrane, it is called transport, and when it requires a carrier protein, it is carrier mediated transport, facilitated transport. Now these porters or transporters are uh, antiporters and uniporters. Uniporters, uh, when they transport two kind of ions in the same direction, that may be from inside to outside or outside. And antiporters, when one ion is excluded, another is uh, taken up. For example, sodium potassium ions transporters, antiporters. So they may exclude the sodium ions, and in return, to balance the pH inside the cell, they will take potassium ions. Next, so I was talking about this uh, osmotic pressure. So osmotic pressure is the uh, pressure required to stop the flow of solvent through a semi-permeable membrane. So suppose two solutions are there. One is light solution, less dense solution. Another is dense solution of the same material. Solvent is liquid in which this one solute is dissolved. For example, sugar or salt. It makes a solution. So solvent, solute, solution. So this solution could be of low osmotic pressure and high osmotic pressure. When it is dissolved in more amount, it is of high osmotic pressure. When it is in low amount, it is low osmotic pressure. So always when these two kind of solution are separated through a semi-permeable membrane, means the membranes which will allow only the transport of water molecules or solvent molecules, not the ions. So this is semi-permeable membrane. So what will happen? The solution tend to equalize. So uh, from less dense solution, this will move into the more dense, means from low osmotic pressure to high osmotic pressure. So if it is clean water also, suppose you have taken uh, So example of semi-permeable membrane is cell one, cell membrane, and it can be also made artificially also. Uh, so suppose you take a potato which has so many semi-permeable membranes. All the cells have semi-permeable membranes. So when you put this potato uh, in water, and inside potato you make a deep cut, and in that cut you put concentrated sugar solution. So after some time, what you will see, water has moved into this potato, and the level of sugar solution will rise. So the water has moved into that solution. It tends to equalize the osmotic pressure. So this is the same principle is also applied in the roots. In the cytoplasm, the density of the osmotic pressure is in the root hairs is high as compared to outside, then it will take up the water, or in the adjacent movement of water into the adjacent cells. So this may be one method of transport of the water and minerals into the plant roots, and from plant roots to other organs. Uh, second, second method is active transport is also happening to a great extent. Third, now the question arises how these ions are taken up by the roots and transported. So ions are taken up. Um, there are few theories regarding that. Number one is ions are dissolved in water, and so along with the uptake of water, some ions also move inside the roots. The second theory is that uh, there are some positive ions which are bound to the inside of the membrane. Suppose calcium hydrogen ions, these are bound to the inner side of the membrane, and they attract negative ion from the soil, uh, and but they do not go in exchange outside. They will just attract the negative ions, and the negative ions are pushed further inside the root hairs. So this is one more. This is one theory, and so active transport is the most prominent process because soil is also many times uh, not uh, drenched with water. So then also roots are able to take up the water. So based on this osmotic pressure difference, or this can also be called suction diffusion pressure deficit (DPD), and it is also called suction pressure. So it uh, creates the pressure. It creates a suction inside the dense solution. Uh, Now, based on this, there are some phenomena observed in the plants like plasmolysis. Plasmolysis is when you put these cells into the dense material, then the water will go out from them and they will shrink. For example, uh, this for making of kismis resins, the grapes have dense sugar solution. The water will be extracted from the grapes, and this cells, the grapes will look shrunken. And similar things happens with our hands if we use put them in concentrated solution for long. They will you will feel they become shrunken. The skin has become shrunken. And so any cell when it is put in a hypersaline medium, then this water will come out of the cell. It is called exosmosis. And when the water will go inside the cell, when it is put in light solution or only solvent, then it is endosmosis. Endosmosis uh, may result in the burst of the cell also if the membrane is not able to bear that pressure. Now, when the cells become completely shrink, it is called plasmolized cell. Mm. Okay. Now, uh, so based on what will happen to the cell inside a solution, the solution are categorized into hypertonic solution, and isotonic solution. Hypertonic solution, when it is hyper means more uh, dense than the cell inside of the cell. Hypo means less dense, and iso means equally dense. So we have discussed what is diffusion pressure deficit. Uh, then there is also a concept of water potential. So water potential uh, is the sum of uh, water potential can also be denoted as psi w. Uh, it is sum of solid potential and pressure potential. And diffusion pressure deficit may also be called suction pressure, and it is the difference between osmotic potential minus water potential. It is water potential is also the turgor pressure. So due to this diffusion pressure deficit, the plant cell take up the water inside the root hairs. Now let us see other example also where this there is quick uh, movement due to this water pressure deficit. Water deficit. One is in the plant touch me not, which is Mimosa pudica. So if somebody touch it, there is sudden folding of the leaves. So and another, this is called thigmonesty or schismonesty, shock movement or touch movement. One is in most of the plant, sleep movement is also observed due to this and diffusion pressure deficit. So sleep movement is called nictinesti. So nick word is used for night. So nicti nest is movement. Mm, okay, now what is turgor? Turgor is this pressure due to osmotic pressure difference. Water comes inside and this creates a pressure on the wall. So this is called turgor pressure, and the wall puts an equal pressure in the opposite direction on the cell cytoplasm. It is called wall pressure. So turgor pressure is equal to wall pressure, and we have seen now there are which kind of water is there inside the soil. There is hygroscopic water, there is a bound water, there is chemically bound water, and capillary water. Uh, So this bound water, which is chemically bound, is not available to the plants, and there is runaway or runoff water, which also percolates through the soil, and then it goes to the deeper layers of the soil or underground water that is not available. Next, only water which is available to the roots is uh, capillary water, which is present uh, inside the air spaces, which were earlier air spaces. Now they have taken up by the filled up by the water. So that capillary water is there, and in some cases, when capillary water finishes, hygroscopic water can a little portion of that can also be taken up by some plants. Otherwise, the runoff water or runaway water is not available. Second is gravitational water, which slowly goes to the deeper layers, is not available. Capillary water is available. Hygroscopic is also mostly not available, and chemically bound water is not available. So available water is called Chessard, and total water is Hollard. Uh, Total water in the present, and the hygroscopic water uh, is not available mostly, and it is called Eckard. Hollard, Chessard, and Eckard. Chessard is available to the plant. Now, how this soil, how this plants take up, absorb the water. The water goes from the root hairs to the endodermis of the root hair of the root. Then from there to cortex. Then uh, first epidermis, which is also called epiblema. From root hair to epidermis, epidermis to cortex, cortex to endodermis, and then through pericycle it goes to the xylem. So there are two routes of water. One is symplastic pathway, one is apoplastic pathway. Symplastic means through the inside of the cell, which may be cytoplasm. And apoplastic means from outside of the cell. That means through middle lamella and cell wall. Because cell wall also has pores, and it can imbibe the water. So uh, that is one. These are the two ways of transport of water to the plants, and xylem, through the xylem it goes to the upper layer. So now from we have seen how the water comes into the root, but how it goes to the upper part. So this is called ascent of sap. Sap means that uh, water and minerals absorbed by the roots. So how this goes up. So there are three theories. First was vital force theory. Vital force theory was given by Jesse Bose. He said that inner layer of root cortex absorbs the water from outer layers, and then it moves up. So he said the living cell is not involved in this transport, and uh, dead tissue is doing this activity. But this was not accepted. Second theory was given by this root pressure theory. Root pressure theory, uh, it tells that roots absorb the water, and due to that absorption, so there is one kind of pump is there in the roots which pushes the water upward, and through which it goes up. But this was discarded based on fact that there are some trees which are hundreds of meter high, 50 to 100-meter high, and roots does not build that much sufficient pressure to push the water to that high plant. It may be important for only small plants, but not for the longer plants. Uh, so root pressure theory was given by Priestley. So third theory was also given, which was capillary theory, which said that uh, due to capillary action, the water moves upward. There also it fails because capillary in the capillaries the water may not rise that much high, and if there is a breakage of that uh, water continuum, then it will not be able to push the water. So there are also objections had arisen. And the last and most accepted theory was given by Dixon and Joly. Um, it was vital force. It was um, cohesion tension theory or transpiration pull theory. So it said that due to the pull exerted uh, by the transpiration of water through the leaves, through the stomata, there is a suction is created into the xylem, which help in the absorption of, which help in the movement of water upward, as well as this less water, all the water deficit or suction created, tension created, also help in the absorption of water by the roots. So this is highly accepted now. It is also, this is the most accepted theory, and it can also be proved that if you remove the leaves of a plant, the transpiration, the pull will be less. There will be less of the water loss through transpiration will be less, and the absorption will also be less. But if there are many leaves, the root absorb more water from the soil. Uh, so this Dixon Joly uh, gave this theory in 1894, and it was further improved in 1914 by Dixon. Uh, tension, transpiration pull, or Poisson tension theory. This can also be uh, proven experimentally by cutting the leaf, cutting the leaf or upper branches from a stem and putting some sponge there, so that water will evaporate from the sponge. This will be equivalent to transpiration, and it will help in the movement of water upwards. Uh, so this is all about the transpiration chapter. Uh, there are difference in the stomata on the leaves of the plants. Different kinds of stomata are there: dumbbell shaped stomata and kidney shaped. In dicots, it's mostly kidney shaped, and in monocots, stomata are dumbbell shaped. In monocots, usually stomata tends to be on both sides, and in dicots, mostly on the lower surface of the leaf. And but there are always exceptions. In water plants, the floating plant, water floating plant, in the plants which are inside water, there are no stomata. In the plants which are floating on water, there is stomata only in the upper surface. For example, water, this Kamal Kakdi, lotus, and Nelambin, these plants have stomata on the upper surface of the leaves. And how does stomata close and open? That is, there are also many theories based on the experimental evidences, and one is starch hydrolysis theory, that hydrolysis, this photosynthesis, this stomatal cells make photosynthesis and starch accumulates, but when that starch is changed into sugar, the osmotic pressure increase. Due to that, water is moves inside the stomatal cells, and they make they become turgid and become this kind of shape. When they have to close, they convert that glucose back into the starch. So this reduces the osmotic potential of guard cell, and they become flaccid again. The and the stomata close. So another theory was Mallet or potassium ion pump hypothesis. This is most accepted hypothesis. That Mallet, this Mallet,